Why is it that animals barely exercise but still have such well-developed muscles, while humans have to constantly work out just to achieve this? Look at the gorillas in the zoo. Every day, besides eating and sleeping, they don't exercise at all. Yet they can still grow a body full of sinewy muscles, becoming absolute beasts with very smooth muscle definition. If humans want to build muscle, they have to pump iron in the gym all day long. Only after persisting like this for 2.5 years can they achieve some modest progress. And this even carries the risk of juicing and ascending to the steroid planet. Even so, human muscles in front of a gorilla are laughably weak, so pathetic it makes you want to cry. Currently, the human deadlift world record is 501 kilograms, held by the mountain Hafthor Björnsson, while an adult silverback gorilla can easily lift 800 kilograms. They are simply stat monsters. I once even saw a gorilla take on 2 T-Rexes solo. Or take the Australian kangaroo. Even those kept in zoos with very little physical activity still have perfect muscle definition. They can even crush metal feed buckets with their bare hands. As for other animals, even the draft animals in the zoo have a body full of muscle without exercising, while we human workhorses just end up skinny and weak without working out. Why is that? There are many reasons, but the biggest one is that the genetic talents of us humans and animals are allocated differently. Most vertebrates have the myostatin gene, whose main function is to negatively regulate the growth and development of skeletal muscle to prevent excessive muscle growth. But we humans are quite special. We put our stat points into intelligence, having a highly energy-consuming organ, like the brain. Just how energy-consuming is it? Put it this way. Taking 2 math classes in high school makes you dizzy with hunger, yet lying down, scrolling through suggestive videos for 2 hours leaves you perfectly energized. That tells you how much energy thinking burns. And the more muscle you have, the higher your basal metabolic rate, meaning you require more energy. So a smart brain and massive muscles are mutually exclusive. You can't have both. Precious energy needs to go to the brain. If it were given to muscles, our heads would end up pointed. When it comes to muscles, just enough is plenty for humans. We don't need them to be too big. That's why the human myostatin gene is exceptionally active. Our cells secrete large amounts of myostatin to stop muscle from growing unchecked. Animals don't have the burden of a highly active brain, so their myostatin gene is generally not as active as ours. Take the kangaroo mentioned earlier. It has a mutation in this gene, which weakens the function of myostatin, so even without exercising, their muscles are exceptionally large. There's also a breed of cattle called the Belgian Blue that looks highly intimidating. This is also due to a genetic defect that prevents them from secreting myostatin, so they can reach weights of up to 3 tons, completely covered in muscle. Among us humans, only a rare few are genetically gifted individuals with inactivated myostatin genes. The rest of us, if we want to build muscle, have to honestly pump iron. The essence of building muscle through exercise is actually to first cause microscopic tears in the muscle fibers through strength training, and then supplement with protein so they can repair and reconnect, making the muscle fibers grow thicker and larger than before. A friendly reminder though, this method of tearing and repairing to increase size only applies to muscles. Please don't do anything foolish elsewhere. And if we want to prevent muscle loss, we also need a certain amount of exercise to maintain it. Ever since humans learned to use tools, our hunting method shifted to persistence hunting. Persistence hunting requires endurance, and endurance doesn't require thick muscle fibers. Only explosive power does. That's why we see sprinters usually having quite large muscles, while long-distance runners are mostly lean and skinny. Same logic. One relies on explosive power, the other on endurance. Since humans chose to allocate points to endurance, naturally, we don't need a massive amount of muscle. From a genetic standpoint, storing fat is a much better survival strategy than storing muscle. It can keep you going during a famine, keeping the population alive. From an evolutionary perspective, having huge muscles with low body fat is actually counter to human design. Even among the entire mammalian class, human body fat percentage is on the higher end. Even though farm pigs look as fat as, well, pigs, in reality, a pig's average body fat percentage is actually slightly lower than a human's. Pigs eat and sleep and eat, and never do any strength training. yet their body fat percentage remains lower than ours. This is the default factory setting programmed into their genes. And that's just how it is. The question of why many animals can grow massive muscles without working out essentially comes down to different genetic priorities. We envy gorillas for sleeping all day without exercising, yet having bigger muscles than we do. But they would probably also envy us for sleeping all day without thinking and still being smarter than a circus monkey.